Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the City Council meeting for Monday, January 14th, 2013. Please join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Madam Clerk, the roll, please.
Mayor Burchell?
Here.
District 1 Morset?
Here.
District 2 Yakub? Here. District 3 Bernard? Here. District 4 T-Winkle?
Here.
District 5 Hoggett?
Here.
District 6 Banslow is excused.
At this point in the meeting, we take comments and suggestions from citizens present on any item that is not on the agenda. Evie, if you could state your name and what you want to say.
Good evening. My name is Evie Nurbin. I'm chairperson of the Hudson Hot Air Affair, here tonight to share our new brochures and invite you all to come to the Hot Air Affair, February 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. This year we have, comparable to previous years, about 30 hot air balloons that are coming to town. Our parade is always a highlight, activities throughout the entire community, the entire weekend. A couple new and fun things this year. Reed Grimm, the American Idol finalist, is going to be in town in the parade, and we'll be doing a concert in support of Youth Action Hudson. We're going to be doing a couple fundraisers ourselves with Hot Air Affair. Our theme is Majestic Flyway. So we're celebrating everything that flies over Hudson. So it could be fireworks, it could be hot air balloons, it could be balloons with special shapes, eagles, swans. We've had a variety of things on our logo at the moment. We've got some geese and some swans. We've also had some crows and some seagulls because our designer wasn't a bird watcher. And so we've got a variety of flying things in Hudson. Local, regional, and nationally acclaimed photographers are helping us with a fundraiser of donating prints that we're going to be selling Hot Air Affair weekend and donating to Feed the Swans in Hudson. We're doing a special event, a Taste of the Flyway, on Saturday night, with proceeds from that event being donated to Will River State Park Owls. So we're embracing our nature theme and doing some wonderful things. Quick side note, we've partnered with the St. Croix Valley Regional Tourism Alliance, and I got a report this afternoon. Northwestern Wisconsin created this last year a giant traveling visitor center, turned a semi into a Northwestern Wisconsin advertising billboard, both inside and outside, and they just finished their first show down in the Quad Cities. We'll be in Des Moines next weekend, Chicago the following weekend, and back up to the Twin Cities. About a dozen travel and tourism destination shows throughout the entire Midwest that we will be participating in. The St. Croix Valley Regional Tourism Alliance, Hudson Advertising, and the Hot Air Affair are included in that show. And I was told late this afternoon as they were coming back north that it was well received and massive amounts of material going out in recognition of the St. Croix Valley and Northwestern Wisconsin. So inviting folks from farther distances to come and enjoy the wonderful assets that we have here in Hudson Hot Air Affair and year-round. Thank you very much, and thank you for your support of Hot Air Affair.
Thank you, Evie. Anyone else? Consent agenda?
To approve the regular meeting minutes of December 17th, 2012. To approve claims for payment in the amount of $2,304,001.80. A detailed description is available on request in the clerk's office and is posted on the city's website. To approve the issuance of 5 regular operator licenses for the period January 15th, 2013 to June 30th, 2014. Additional operator license information is available in the clerk's office on request. To approve the clerk's appointments for the annual 2013 election cycle as follows. Douglas Torgerson as Special Registration Deputy through December 31st, 2014, and all previously appointed election inspectors to serve as special voting deputies for election-related duties at the Christian Community Home as needed, and Karen Duco as a deputy election clerk in the clerk's office. To approve the St. Croix EMS purchase of a Lucas 2 chest compression device, including batteries, chargers, and power cord supply from Physio Control Incorporated, Redmond, Washington, for a total cost of $15,074.75, to place on file the semi-annual report of the compliance officer. That is all.
Move for approval.
Is there a second?
Second.
Roll call?
Hewinkel?
Yes.
Bernard? Yes. Morset?
Yes.
Yakub? Yes. Haggett?
Yes.
First item on the agenda is certificate of compliance for auto repair service at 2110 Webster Street, Hudson Ford. Mr. Darnold.
Thank you. Hudson Ford Incorporated requests a certificate of compliance to have an automotive service center detailed shop at 2110 Webster Street, which is the lot on the south side of the Hudson Ford retail sales, auto sales lot. I did explain in review with them that if they're seeking a certificate of compliance, it's limited to the detail shop, general maintenance, cleanup of new and used cars. They cannot have it as a sales lot. They cannot have it as a general automotive repair center. Mechanical considerations. If that's the case, then they need to come back for a conditional use permit. Kathy and I talked about that this afternoon. I do have to sign off on a permit, and what I do to clarify that issue would be to explain the difference between what the certificate of compliance allows them to do and what would be required to have a conditional use permit. Planning Commission recommends approval of certificate of compliance for an automotive service center detail shop at Hudson Ford at 2210 Webster Street, and if you'd add the fact that I would send that clarification on that issue to the motion, I'd appreciate it.
Is there a motion?
I'll move to approve the certificate of compliance.
I'll second that.
Okay.
With Denny's provision, sorry.
Okay.
I'll second that also.
All right. Any questions, comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next order is, number 2 is a final plat, Red Cedar Canyon View, 17 one-family residential lots and 3 outlots, 8 lots abutting Canyon Road and 9 lots abutting the extension of Dunbury Pass north of East Canyon Drive, Hans Hagen Homes.
Planning Commission recommends approval of the final plat of Red Cedar Canyon Valley View with the condition the plat may not be filed until a development agreement is executed and sureties provided for street and utility improvements. The lots that are being created are one-family residential lots. The plat is in compliance with the master plan approved for Red Cedar Canyon, and also the preliminary plat is approved. There are 4 areas where the lots are being created. 2 of the areas will be in outlots with streets, with new streets constructed, street and utility improvements, and at a later time they'll come back, plat those areas with single-family lots too. Last year, Hans Hagen had about 20 single-family home permits and 7, so they've been doing quite well considering, you know, the economic conditions. This year they seem to be starting, and this is the reason they're wanting to create these lots, is because they do have a housing demand. So,
Danny, do you remember how many homes he said that are in Red Cedar Canyon?
oh, it's over 325 or so.
That was a lot.
Maybe a little bit less of that. It was 325 is about the total, so they're probably somewhere around 280 or 285 approximately.
But they're getting close, aren't they, to
They're
the,
getting much closer, yeah.
Yep.
Originally, as a 5-year build-out, you know, it's probably going to end up being a 10-year build-out,
Yep.
which is a long time for development of that size. So,
Move for approval.
okay. Any other discussion or any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
thank you.
Thank you.
Denny.
Item 4 in finance, consider amendment of 2012 general fund operating budget. Evan?
During the course of the year, budgetary transfers are made. In order for any of the staff to put in a purchase order, they have to have money in their budget. It's a kind of a safety feature we have on it. And so over the course of the year, we've had to move money. We've had to move money for personnel costs. For example, we didn't have as much snow removal, so they were doing other things, so we had to move money. Those are generally within the departments, but there are some items that are outside of, between departments, or money that had not been spent in prior years that was spent this year, some by council action, some by, you know, just utilizing funds that were left over. So basically what this does is just amends the budget to what is actually in place at the end of the year, and we do this annually. There's an increase in both revenue and expenditures, about $175,000, but it does not impact the tax levy at all because it's the same amount for both.
Comments or questions?
I'll move to approve the budget amendment.
Okay, is there a second? Any discussion?
And then this will be published in the paper, and then that'll make it all legal for us.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, next item is the review of room tax revenues and expenditures. Neil?
What was distributed was a summary of the room tax revenues, including a projection as to where we'll be after we get in the fourth quarter receipts for 2012. The 2013 budget, where the budget that was approved previously in the general fund had a single amount for room tax expenditures. What this budget would do is it would provide an allocation of those funds. The recommendation from the committee was to continue funding for the Chamber of Commerce at 70% of the receipts. The one change that was made was that for the past couple of years, funding for the Phipps Center and for the Hot Air Affair was part of a grants program. What this would do is move that into the city tourism and beautification portion of the room tax budget. And there was discussion at the committee level to maintain the grant program, but not have any funds allocated at this time.
When we get the budget, when we get the final budget number in 31st of January?
Those are due by the 31st of January, and typically some people drag in a day or two late.
So we'll do something in March. We'll bring it back to look to see if...
I think what I've tried to do at the end of the quarter, the second meeting of the month following the close, I'll do a room tax report, and that's where I'll bring that back.
Okay. Questions?
So what's the purpose of maintaining the grant program if this, I mean, since I've been here, it's always been the Phipps and Hot Air Fair that have applied. One time we had Pee Wee International, but that's not gonna, I mean.
That's not coming back.
That's not coming back, so
I
I guess it's just, I agree with moving it up. I think it was kind of getting redundant. I mean, every year we're giving the same money to the same two people, so why, if we have more funds and somebody is in need of it, can't we consider it then?
Mm-hmm.
Why do we need a group of people to get together to decide if they're appropriate for tourism or not, for dollars?
I think the issue was to take, I think we were getting quite a few requests before. Didn't we used to get?
I think if you go back into 3, 4, 5 years ago, there was a far broader range where times there were, you know,
First
4
year
or
we had
5.
6, 7 of them. I think the second year then there were 4.
4.
Pee Wee International, and then these 2, and then since then it's just been these 2.
Yeah, so where do the other ones go that were besides Pee Wee International? I mean, I just feel like it's not a big deal because we're obviously moving the 2 up that I would have been requesting that we move up, but to me, it just seems like if someone is searching for funds and we feel that it was appropriate to come out of this budget, why couldn't we make a decision there instead of gathering 3 random people together in a committee and, you know?
Yeah, I think part of it is to formalize the process, and that was why I brought this forward a few years ago, was there was no process, and maybe we need to do a better job of publicizing it when we finally make the decision, when we see how much is left. But it was a way to get the decision-making away from
Us.
elected officials.
Yeah, so it's not
And
biased.
to make it, yeah. And so, you know, if we do it for a couple years and there aren't applicants, we can decide to disband it. But I hate to, because we've only been doing it for a few years, I really hate to see it just sort of get, you know, brushed aside. I'm fine with these 2, I guess, getting moved up. But like I said, maybe we need to do a better job of publicizing it and letting organizations know that the program exists.
I guess I tend to agree. I think just having it there and promoting it better and seeing if we get a little more interest for some other events, because we know we have other events, Yellowstone Trail, we've got, you know, the weekend, the shopping weekends in November. Just seems like an opportunity to get other people involved, so.
My guess is that it's just unknown to many.
And, you know, the grant application requires it to be tourism related, and that
Right.
Right.
became difficult for some of the
For
groups
some,
to
right.
There's also a
pinpoint it
deadline.
to tourism.
There's a deadline to get it in, right?
But that was the difficulty we had the first couple of years. It was more just people applying for money for
Right.
things that weren't really tourism related.
Okay. So, is there a motion to approve this and then bring it back, March, April?
I'll move to approve.
Sure.
Okay,
Second.
any other discussion? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. I think I don't know what I did with my, got an extra one?
The resolution.
Yep. The next item is the support of a tax municipal bonds resolution number 1-113 came to us from our bond counsel, who said there's been legislation has been proposed by the federal level that would remove tax exemption for interest earned on debt issued by state and local governments. While it is not a significant amount in the current interest rate environment with the city's relatively low outstanding debt, the interest rate differential between taxable and tax-exempt debt can be close to the range of 30%. The loss of tax-exempt status for municipal debt would increase the cost of borrowings for the city and the projects accordingly. Besides the 30%, it may put us in a project where we won't be able to do it. So basically, we have a resolution that we would send to our two senators, Johnson and Baldwin, and to our congressperson, that we would like to see us stay tax exempt so that our rate of financing our bonds would stay low.
I move we suspend the rules.
Second.
Okay. Roll call?
Bernard?
Yes.
Morset?
Yes.
Yaku?
Yes.
Haggett?
Yes.
Tewinkle?
Yes.
Move for adoption of resolution number 1-13.
Is there a second?
Second.
Questions? Anybody have any comments about this? Congressman Duffy last week, I was at the meeting when he had his open house, and he said that at this point, it's all back off the table.
Okay.
But it may come back when they start doing their budget negotiations again, so.
Seems like bringing it up now might not be a good idea, you know, just,
Right.
just a thought.
So, at this point, it's not on the table, but I would like to, you know, send this off to our Congress people, our people in Congress, and see what happens. Okay, any other questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next is St. Croix EMS contract with Regions for medical direction and training. Kim, can you give us a quick update on that?
So in the past, we've had a contract with Regions Hospital in St. Paul for medical direction under state national guideline. In order for us to have any type of medical care or give medical care to the city or anybody, we have to have a medical director that we fall under, and we've had that person out of Regions Hospital, out of that contracts with Hudson Hospital. So we got a new medical director, Dr. Aaron Burnett, who's from Regions and does a lot of time up at Hudson Hospital. Is very proactive. We really like working with them. So we're continuing our contract with them, but along with that, then we're also adding all of our training with them. Didn't raise the price any, just kind of a benefit to us that we're getting it for the same price.
Okay,
I'll make a motion to approve the new contract.
I'll second.
any discussion or questions for Kim? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Kim. Park Board, user fees, 2013 user fees. Tom or Kurt, who wants to be, come on up, Tom, in case we got some extra questions that maybe Kurt won't be able to answer, if there is any. Everybody received a copy of all the proposed fees. Anybody have any comments or thoughts on it?
I do.
All right.
I would like to see us make a slight change if we could, and I think the Lakefront Park band shell fee is $400 for profit, and that's for whether it's 2 hours, 1 hour, or a whole day. I'd like to see us consider making it $200 for 4 hours, and after that, be $400. I think it's a little, I kind of feel it's a little pricey for a 1 hour rental or a 2 hour rental when it's not a private type rental, because it is at the park. You know, it's not like White Camp where if you have a pavilion and you rent it, you know. I'd just like to see us consider, I mean, something like that is $200 for a wedding, you know, whether it's the rehearsal or whatever, I can't remember. It's $200 for a wedding for a city resident, you know, and it's making it $200 for 4 hours is still $50
Sure.
you know. So I just would like to see us be a little more gracious towards the city resident. Or towards a for-profit, I mean, excuse me.
So really, you're looking ultimately to add a tier.
Yes,
And that's
to
a
add a
4
tier,
hour tier.
4 hours unless, 4 hours, up to 4 hours, $200, anything beyond 400. You know, I mean, it'd be easy to monitor, you know, you have to have it from the pavilion from a certain time. Whenever you rent it, they ask you your time frame you're gonna be there anyways, so it's not,
Actually, we basically did that same thing with these, when we have a bigger event for multiple days. Just prior to that, you know, they got a rate for one, it was $400, whether it was 1 day or 4 days. Just because of the staffing and the things that we have to do for multiple days, we put a new tier on there. It says right above the where it says city events. It's a new proposal this year, and instead of charging $400 for 1 day, if it's more than the 1 day, that we'd just charge $600. If it's, I guess the park board recommended up to 4 days.
yeah.
So that was a new item. We could do the same thing with the band shell, is just have a hour limit on them.
I think it might be more rentable too. I think
Sure.
people don't rent it because of the price. So, you know,
I wouldn't think that'd be a problem at all.
Do we have many events that are like half-day? Let me ask the question, are there many for-profit?
A lot of the ones that we get a lot of rentals are like for events on Sundays for churches, and then of course the weddings.
So those would all be nonprofit?
Yeah.
No, and I'm fine with that, I was just curious, you know. What
Well, the
about
political events are for-profit.
I was just going to ask you, we had quite a few political events there.
Last year there were.
Yeah, or the
Yep.
year before, whenever the,
Both years.
yeah, both years were pretty busy.
actually.
So we'd lower for a 4 hour or half hour, however long it is, to $200
Up to
versus
4
4
hours would be
Yeah, up to
200,
4 hours, because, I mean,
and then over 4 would be.
yeah, because then over 4, you're taking up the whole day, and
Would you need to say that if it's from like 8, you know, would you say that some people might rent it from 10 to 2, well, that takes pretty much, or would you go like from 8 to 12 and then 12 to 4? Otherwise you go right in the middle of the day.
it's gonna be what it's gonna be, just like White Camp Park. If someone wants to rent it from 10 to 2, we don't stop them, right?
Just something to consider, though. I
Yeah.
mean, if you,
I actually kind of like that, Tom, because otherwise that,
It's taken
11 to
up-
3, you eat up the whole day, and we only get a half day out of it.
Same with the parks, though. Are we gonna start saying, okay, White Camp and Prospect, you have to rent it from these time slots? I mean, if you have guest speakers coming for something and they can only come between a certain time, you know, again,
but they would know that. I mean, you know, if it was, you know, in the ordinance or in these rates that, you know, you could rent it from so many hours, either have a morning
right.
rental or an afternoon rental.
But then we do that through the whole park system?
Well, when you rent it, like pavilions, you rent it for the whole day.
Yeah.
When you rent White Camp Park, it's for the whole day?
Basically.
So then why do we have to give a time slot of when we're gonna be there?
Because you just said you would like to break it up.
No, I'm talking about White Camp, for example. Like when you rent it from White Camp, you say your party is from 6 to 10.
I think it'd probably be for cleaning
And
purposes
staffing,
or
so you know,
staffing,
so
if
you
we have
can
to
make sure
send
you got
somebody up
staff
there.
at the
or-
right spot at the right time.
I don't know. I don't really want to compliment it. I just want 4 hours. So but
Why don't we put it at 4 hours and let the public work, or the park department decide how they want to.
that's fine. I just think 4 hours or less should be $200. However you want to break that up, I don't really care.
It's not like we get a lot of requests
Right.
for it.
Right,
You
it's
know what
not
I
gonna
mean?
be-
No, it's not gonna be.
Vision bumping
No.
into each other. Or,
Right. I mean, if you have a same-day event, then yeah, I mean, but
I don't think
the
it's gonna
chances
be-
of that are slim, I think.
Well, if you do it that way, logically, if I rent it for the morning and I dip into the afternoon, well, I gotta pay the 200 for the afternoon, so it becomes 400. I mean, it kind of logically
Right.
just folds out that way, right?
Yep.
If you go over 4 hours, yeah.
if you go over 4 hours.
Right.
So I don't know. That was one of my things. And my other question is why we're holding off on the Grandview Park fees.
We had some discussion at the park board meeting, and one of the increases was for the softball charge to the softball. We've had a 33% increase in electrical rates. Our bills have gone up 33%. So we've been slowly trying to catch up with, increase in our rates. This year we asked for a 22% rate increase, which was, I believe, $10 per game when you use the lights at night, when you use the fields at night because of the lighting.
$10 per team?
Per team, per game. So
Okay.
we ran into a little resistance from the softball association, so we tabled that. The park board decided to table that, and we're gonna come back with some better numbers and some comparisons with some of the other communities. But our
Softball
rates
doesn't
have
pay
gone
for
up.
itself, does it, up there?
Pardon?
Softball doesn't come close to paying for itself, does it? With our lights and,
No, like I said, they've gone up 33% in the last 8 years, so we're falling behind. I think even in Devin's budget reflected that we were $6,000 short this year.
So why did we?
So we tried to make that up because of the increase, but ran into a little resistance. But we're going to actually take some comparisons, and we're going to discuss it at the next park board meeting.
So hasn't there been an increase in tournaments and such?
Actually, the gentleman that represents the softball association said the teams, the games have actually decreased. The teams
We
have
made
gone
all the
down quite a bit.
improvements?
Yeah. So how many fields are there?
3.
3?
4 softball fields.
4, and we're irrigating them, right?
Yep,
We're lighting them.
yep,
We mow the lawn.
yep.
We provide parking. We maintain the parking, and we're worried about $10 more a game. We're concerned about that.
That was our suggestion, was $10 this year,
Wow.
to increase in that, so.
Okay, we'll see what happens at park board, I guess, but I think we need to seriously consider, I don't know where the money's gonna come from. If we're running into a deficit running the ball fields, then maybe we need to reconsider something. We got too many other things to pay for and worry about deficits, so I just,
The only other addition was we're getting a lot of requests for leagues and for volleyball courts, so we just had a new fee proposed on there for $10 for any reservations, just to handle administrative and things like that. Some of the other fields or increases were due to just park usage that we've actually had to put another shift on weekends to pick up garbage and check restrooms, so we've actually had to add some additional staff on for weekend.
We get a good use out of our parks, don't we? For the pavilions and
Yeah.
usage?
Yeah, it's great.
Yep.
So, and then we're also gonna visit the courtesy dock lease when probably at the end of this month.
Okay.
So we didn't do anything with that.
just one more question about Grandview. How many acres is that? How much field do we maintain?
Oh, gosh. You put me
Five?
on the
A
spot.
guesstimate.
5 acres?
A
3?
guesstimate.
I think it might be a little more than 5, but
Okay.
just in the field where the ball fields are?
Yeah, just the ball field area.
I would say eight to
Eight?
nine.
8 to 9.
But then also, there's another section to the north of that, which we have another softball field, and the boosters, we have an agreement with the boosters that they have a football field down there,
Yeah.
which they have been sharing with the lacrosse team.
Okay.
So we have that also.
And we maintain that?
Yes, we do.
The high school lacrosse team?
The booster
The
field,
booster
we
lacrosse team?
maintain all the
High
fields
school
in that.
doesn't have a lacrosse
They don't have a lacrosse team? Wow.
It's all club.
The boosters do pay for their irrigation, and I think in the contract, we fertilize it one or two times, and then anything else, they maintain that.
So how are their fees compared to the softball association? If they're paying for irrigation, which helps.
Well, that's for their football fields. Otherwise, they're, as far as Grandview, they pay a fee for that also. It's $10 per game, I think, but they don't usually have lights. So that's in there also.
So they're paying a fee $10 a game without using their lights, and the softball association uses their lights and is not paying the fee.
They're paying a fee.
Yes,
They're paying a
it's
fee.
like
Not as much
45,
as-
it's $45 this year. I think next year we're proposing 55.
But they're using lights, and they're using 33% more, whatever you said, of our,
Well, the electricity has gone up in
Electricity
8
is-
years about
It's not that they're
33%.
using 33%.
no, they're
more.
not, but my point is that their use is more expensive than, the boosters, they pay to irrigate the fields, and stuff like that. I'm just,
And so in the Hudson High School they use the baseball diamond.
That's,
Correct.
that belongs
Softball.
to this, that belongs to the school district, that field. The
That
baseball
diamond?
field, yep.
Okay.
The
But the
softball
girls
team comes
softball
and plays
uses
on
our
team.
Grandview Park.
Yep.
And then they have the one lower one, I think that they just changed the fencing on last year. So that is a city field, but they use that for girls softball.
The one
High
that's
school
most,
does?
Yep.
the
Slow
one
pitch
that's.
softball, I think,
Southeast.
plus they use some of our fields on Grandview Park also.
That's for
and
girls.
we don't get any assistance from the school district to maintain those?
Not for maintenance, no.
Yeah, that's.
Do they rent the fields at all?
I'm not sure if we charge the school or not.
Okay,
That's something else we can check into.
okay.
Yeah, wouldn't you say that's probably the only area, that's the only park in town that we have sort of that crossover where the school district uses it, but the city maintains it? Right?
Yes.
Can we think of anywhere else?
Well, Burton Field, I think
St. Pat's uses.
St. Pat's and Trinity use Burton Field, I think, don't they? Don't they do recess?
But Burton Field's a little different. They don't actually reserve it, but they do. We cut the grass, but they go up there and they drag the fields, they lime it. and,
That's the
so
Rooster
they-
Club that does that, right? Or the
No, it's
school?
actually the Catholic Church.
Okay.
Or the Catholic.
So I think it's a point that we need to clarify a little bit. And it's come up as they've wanted to build the building for concessions, the Hudson Baseball Association or.
Okay, Grandview, you're talking.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I just think it's an area where we need to clarify a little bit who's
Whose is
using
whose?
it and who's maintaining it and who's paying for it, and should there be some more cooperation in the
Yeah.
fiscal side of things?
I agree. She just says it more eloquently than me.
Who's the center lot? Is the center lot?
That is school property.
What's that?
Which one is the
Cinder
school?
lot down on
Yep.
5th and Oak. That's a school property.
And I don't have a problem with them using it, it's just maybe there should be a shared agreement as far as maintenance or some compensation.
We can see how much the girls softball uses it.
Okay. Who schedules that then? Does Deb up in your office schedule that?
We start as soon as we get requests from all the, the Hudson Softball Association, the boosters. There's a couple other groups also that schedule, then there's church leagues and fall leagues and things like that.
Okay.
We do that all up in Public Works.
All right, any other questions, and where are we at? Other than the change of addition from $200 for the Lakefront Park band shell for 4 hours, and then $400 for 8 hours.
Over 4 hours.
Over 4 hours, excuse me.
Yeah, that, I didn't technically make a motion, I don't think, so I'll make a motion.
Okay.
Requesting that we switch that fee to be for Hudson for-profit at Lakefront Park Band Shell to be $200 for under 4 hours, and anything over 4 hours to be $400.
You okay
With
with
a
that?
$375 security deposit for both.
Okay. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Are you including all of the fees here, Mary?
Excuse me.
Of all the fees, approval of all the fees, not just one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Outside of that,
That's
I
what she
approved
said.
the rest of the,
Okay.
I'd like to add a few, but
And
patience.
who seconded that, Randy? Or Mary, or Lori did? Any other discussion? Questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We have anything for future agenda items?
I had one, and I don't know where it would fall under, either Devin or Catherine, under our ordinances of free stuff like these phone books that are all ending up in our streets now that are delivered to residents, and anything free that these cars that are driving by, dropping off free newspapers, free stuff. Telephone books are ending up in our streets and in our people's yards. I'd like to know if there's an ordinance on the books or something we can do to prevent something.
Be like the free shoppers guides and then,
Oh, in the
and then phone book
mailboxes?
distribution.
But they
But
didn't.
it
They
goes
throw
in
them on
the
your front
mailbox.
step, they put them on your front step, or they put them
A driveway?
in your driveway.
They throw them everywhere. They're all over the place right now.
Is it any,
Yeah, I doubt there's anything in the ordinance code, but I'll look and,
If it's legal
yeah,
without,
right.
stepping
I'm
on
just not
people's rights.
certain.
Okay.
Certainly on newspapers, there's issues, but,
Yeah, these would be like the free shopper guides type things, not the.
well, in particular this
But
last
they're
week,
not-
phone books ended up all over everybody's yards.
but they're put on
yellow
private
bags.
property.
Yes.
Correct.
Okay.
That was on my stoop.
Okay. Anything else for the future agenda items? We have an opening on our cable board, if there's anyone interested in the public, or if you have a recommendation for someone to come on the cable board. I've gotten one recommendation from Lori tonight, so if there's anybody else,
Who was leaving?
McCormick. And that's all I had. Any other alter person? City attorney?
Oh.
City administrator?
Quickly, we do have a primary election on February 19th for the Hudson School Board and the State Supreme Court. When, if anybody wants to vote absentee, Nancy, when will we have the ballots?
22nd.
22nd of January?
They can't start voting absentee in person, I think, until February 4th.
Okay.
So mailing out happens before in-person absentee.
And we do have a new receptionist here at City Hall. Karen Duco started the 1st of January.
Okay, anything else? Is there a motion to adjourn?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.